Moving on with our session, may I request Pujya Swamiji Srikantanandaji to deliver his keynote address in this session on science and spirituality. Pujya Swamiji.
ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Dr. Vijay Bhatkar, Dr. Vishwanathji Karad, just now Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, Minister, beautifully addressed this gathering, and we have Satish Reddy ji, Shekhar Mande, other dignitaries, on enlightened audience sitting before me. We heard a very beautiful talk, how India is developing in the field of science. And also we have heard the contribution of Vijnana Bharati in this field. They are carrying this message of science to the different schools and colleges by their mobile vans. This was Swami Vivekananda's dream. Somebody asked him, Swamiji, why don't you preach religion in India? Swamiji said, these are all poor people. Their God is bread and butter. First we have to give them bread. Then we can talk about God. Empty stomach is not fit for religion. So when Swamiji saw the poverty in India, he went round, he did Bharat Parikrama. Then he sat on Vivekananda Kendra, you know now, Vivekananda Rock Memorial. There Kanyakumari he went and sat there, meditated. And he was thinking about only Indians. He was the only monk who could think of India in totality. His love for India was great. He said, in my country, not even dog should go empty stomach. That was his love for country. But what is the solution? Because he was, after all, he was a monk. Then, during meditation, he found a solution for that problem. He said the solution is, I must go to West. Because Western countries are well developed. I must go there. And India has something great to contribute to the world. I will give them Indian spirituality. I will not go like a beggar. I will go to other countries to give them spirituality and get science and technology for them. So we can develop our country materially. His dream was, we want Western science and technology coupled with Vedanta. How to combine these two things, Western science with Indian spirituality. In America, in Europe, Swamiji did not speak about science or material progress or employment or all those things, because they were leading a very luxurious life. All comforts were available for them because they developed science and technology, and India was lagging behind in that. When he was going to America, Chicago, from Japan to America, In that ship, Tata were there, Jamshedji Tata. Then Swamiji said, you are going to other countries to import things. Why don't you start some factories in India? Why do you start science center in India, Science Research Institute? And we know that Jamshedji started in Bangalore, Science and Technology Institute. Today also it is available. He requested Swamiji to become a member, but Swamiji said, being a monk, I cannot accept any position. So Swamiji was always thinking, even in America also, he met Tesla and many scientists. He was always thinking that how to get that knowledge. Because that time there was a lot of superstition. We should not cross the ocean. They are all mlechas. It's the day we started thinking that they are mlechas and we should not go out. That was the beginning of India's degradation. Other countries were so developed, we were backward because we refused to go outside of the India. They were fighting with guns and we were fighting with swords. So unless we develop science and technology, we cannot develop India. And Swamiji knew very well. Though he was a spiritual giant, but he knew that India need both because so much poverty was there in India. Even Moksha Gundam Vishwesvaraya said, poverty is a disease and it can be cured. There is medicine for that. And he was a Bharat Ratna, he was an engineer. And how he did wonderful work in Hyderabad, Hussain Sagar, Usman Sagar, Himayat Sagar. So all Kaveri Dam is all his contribution. So being a scientist, he did lot of work for the progress of India. At the same time, we see his wonderful character, great values. So when we combine these two, then we can make India great. It will be nice that Vijnan Bharati is taking science door to door. Like that Vijnan Bharati, they should start another wing, Adhyatma Bharati. And they should go to village and carry the message of Indian culture, religion and spirituality. Because we know science, our boys, they know science. But they are losing faith in our culture. They are losing faith in spirituality and religion. That means science is making them only selfish. So, certain extent it is necessary because we have to develop science. Population is growing. In every field we have to bring science and technology. In agriculture field, medical field, during those days Vedas, the science was very advanced. We had Ayurveda. Ayurveda was so advanced that everything was available there, even surgery also. So they researched and found out different faculties to improve the life of human beings. In mathematics, in geometry, we know how they were great. Even that time also we had aeroplane, that we know that Pushpak. So many things were there. But because of almost 1,000 of slavery, the other nations wanted to spread their culture and destroy this culture. But of course, they could not. They tried their best. They closed all the schools. They used to teach Sanskrit. In every village there was a Sanskrit Pathshala. So they wanted to destroy everything what is our own and to introduce their own culture. But then they could not succeed because we had a very strong foundation. The great people like Swami Vivekananda and others, they came and they protected Indian culture and religion. When Swamiji went to America, they all were surprised. He also preached Vedanta, but scientific temperament with logic and reasoning. If we give logic and reasoning, and if we can convince them, they are bound to accept our ideas. And that was the Swamiji's great contribution. He became a very successful spiritual teacher in the world. First time he went and he preached spirituality, Vedanta, and they were spellbound. They said, India has such a great people, such enlightened people. It is a foolishness to send our people to preach religion there. So even that time also, we could hold on to the science and spirituality, particularly spirituality. And now we need more because we find day by day the values are degrading. Science we must have. We cannot reject science. Otherwise we will not be able to develop. We have to compete with the world. So when we are in the world market, we have to compete. So therefore in every aspect we should improve, even physical sciences also. And today we find that we are advancing in that field very much. But then we should remember that alone is not enough. Man cannot live only on bread. So this is a science of matter. But there is another science of spirit, what we call spirituality. That is, the modern science is discovering truths in external nature. And that is possible through senses and machineries. And Western countries are expert in that. They started that. Their all search was in the outer world. How to make human being comforts and how to remove the poverty so that they can live in this world happily. Our sages did not pay much attention to that. They knew that all these things will be there, but they are all perishable. So instead of searching truth in outside world, they turned their mind within and they found out grand truths about human being. Now the modern science should expand their scope. They should not remain confined only with the physical science, the material sciences. They should go beyond that. And they are searching truth in nature, but human being also is a part of nature. So there what is hidden in human being, that is our sages have discovered, and that is science of spirituality. That is also one of the science. And we are today, in the name of science, we are very much charmed, very much attracted by the external things, that we are forgetting that what is hidden within us. Swami Vivekananda says, if we forget that, then what will happen to India? In one quotation, Swami Vivekananda said like that. Swamiji said, mark you, if you give up spirituality, leaving it aside to go after the materializing civilization of the West, the result will be that in 3 generations you will be an extinct race, because the backbone of the Indian nation will be the broken. The foundation upon which the national edifice has been built will be undermined, and the result will be annihilation all around. So Swamiji has warned us, that is our backbone. Religion and spirituality is our backbone. In the whole world, what is the speciality of India? Because of India, there is spirituality in the world. If India dies, all great things will go away. अगर कभी ऐसा हो जाए, भारत दुनिया से मिट जाए, तब होगा चारों तरफ में नैतिकता का नाश, कभी न होगा भारत का विनाश. So India is eternal. India is immortal. India cannot die because India has to provide the world spirituality, which is nowhere in the world. It is India's monopoly. Our Upanishad, our Vedanta is so logical. You can reason out, you can question, and you can find out the truth. So this is only about truth of the man. And that truth is so subtle that no machine can help us to discover truth in nature. There are many things, microscope and all these things are there. But for discovering spiritual truth, there is only one thing, and that is our mind. And those truths are very subtle. Our mind is gross. So this gross mind cannot grasp that subtle truth. Our Upanishad says, Anoraniyan mahato mahiyan, atmasya janto nihito guhayam, tamakratu pashyati vita shoka, dhatu prasadat mahimana atmanaha. So this is smaller than the smallest. That is the truth, the Atman, the consciousness, and that is hidden within each one of us. That is vast, and at the same time it is very subtle. So it can be realized only by mind, but not the mind what we have. Akratu, desireless and pure mind. So this training of the mind is necessary. This truth is hidden within each one of us. It is everywhere, it is all pervaded. That consciousness is everywhere. But we are not aware of that. Though it is our essential nature, that real I is that self. But we are only on the plane of body. We are not able to go beyond body. When we try to go beyond body, we have to discipline ourselves. Then how to discover this truth? That is what we have a system. And by following system, systematically we can attain that highest truth of Vedanta. And that is called Veda. Veda, the last truths are there. And to practice that, we have yoga. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, if you run after too much enjoyment and pleasures, that means bhoga. If you run after bhoga, you will get a roga. You will get all sorts of diseases. And to cure that, you have to practice yoga. So yoga means we think only physical exercise. But it has a very vast meaning. Patanjali has written one book, Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So that is step by step he has given Ashtanga Yoga. Even Bhagavan Buddha also given Ashtanga Yoga. So what was lacking for Bhagavan Buddha? Everything was there. He was a prince. He was a Rajkumar. Every luxury and all comforts were there. But why he was not happy? When he went out of the palace, when he saw the old man, the dead body, the deceased people, then he said, this is the truth about life. You say, science can remove our fear, but science cannot remove fear of death. Science cannot conquer death. As long as human body is there, as long as there is birth and death, the spirituality always will be there. In Kathopanishad, a boy Nachiketa went to Yama, his guru, and asked, Sir, I want to know what happens to man after death. Some say there is nothing, some think there is something. You please answer my question. He wanted to know truth about human being. Yama tempted him. Yama said, you want anything, whatever you want, I am ready to give. You want land, prosperity, what you want, long life, healthy life, everything you ask. But don't ask this question. But his boy said, no, I don't want anything. I want to know only about this truth, what happens to man after death. And that is secret of death. That if we want to overcome sufferings, science can remove some of our sufferings. But science cannot remove all our sufferings. Because as long as body is there, sufferings will be always there. And we are so much attached to the body, we say, I am this body, but we don't know what is beyond body. Shankaracharya says, Mano buddha hankara chittani naham, nacha srotra jivhe, nacha grana netre, nacha vyama bhumi na tejo na vayu, chidananda rupa shivoham. So that is real knowledge. We should have scientific knowledge. At the same time, we should have spiritual knowledge also. Without spiritual knowledge, the knowledge is not complete. See the Einstein what he says. He says, science can denature plutonium, but science cannot denature evil in the heart of man, declares Einstein. He said you can break atom, science can do that, but science cannot remove the evils from the human mind. Science is developing, but along with that, selfishness, telling lies, crimes, mental and psychological problems, and many more problems are also increasing because the man is not sincerely following values. Now, without values, we will be just like a machine. We will be working like a machine. Machine also can work. So science has reduced man to the machine. So we have only the external dimension, but we don't know about internal dimension. And unless we know that internal dimension, we cannot attain eternal peace and happiness. Because this science can give you comforts. It can give you a very good life. But we cannot be satisfied with that. Our Vedas, they are given four Purusharthas: Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. These are the four Purusharthas given in Vedas. Unless we follow Dharma, we cannot attain Moksha. Moksha means liberation, freedom from all bondages, freedom from all sufferings. And Bhagavan Buddha went out, sat in meditation, and he attained that state of nirvana where he was so happy. He wanted to spread that truth, and he spread that truth throughout the world. Even China, Japan, Thailand, Sri Lanka, everywhere his bhikshus went. Lakhs and lakhs of sannyasis were seen preaching the truth of Dharma. Dharma means what Buddha says, Dhammam. So this truth were there. Though people were happy with material things, everything was available for them, but they wanted to know what is the real source of happiness, where that happiness will come from. And here scripture says, you don't have to search that happiness in the physical world, because what is not there, how can you get it? Because your nature is the Ananda Swarup, that infinite bliss is within you. So instead of searching within, you are searching outside. Just like a musk deer runs here and there. नाभि में रहते कस्तूरी मृग भागे सब ओर रे छोड़ दे झूठे सुख की आशा कर निज अंतर खोज रे. Just like Kasturi Mruga runs here and there, getting smell, fragrance of Kasturi. But that deer does not know that that Kasturi is hidden within his navel. Like that happiness is hidden within each one of us. But we are running after happiness in the world. This happiness, what we get through senses, it's a very partial. There is no real happiness. It brings only sufferings. Tukaram Maharaj says, Sukha pahata java evade, dukha parvata evade. In this world, very little happiness but more sufferings. But to get little happiness, we invite all sorts of sufferings because we neglect our real dimension. We neglect our inner dimension. So therefore, it is our duty of each and every Indians or each and every citizens to improve both faculties. We should not be satisfied with material achievements. We have good car or good house, and if you remain satisfied, you are losing very important thing in your life. Because human life is very rare. Shankaracharya says in Vivek Chudamani, Durlabam treme vaited devanugraha hetukam manushyatvam mumukshutvam mahapurusha samsaraya. In this world, three things are very difficult to get, and only by the grace of God we can get, and that is the human body. There are so many species. There are 80 lakhs yoni species, but human being is unique because human being alone can realize the higher truth. Animals cannot do that. They don't have that faculty of discrimination. They don't have viveka. So human being can think, he can decide what is temporary, what is permanent, and he should choose what is permanent. And in that way he started journey. So therefore first come dharma. Then based on dharma, if you earn money, there is nothing wrong. But today we find why there is so much of violence, why there is so much of cheating, murders, corruption, because we don't care for dharma. If you don't want to practice dharma, you cannot attain moksha. Our scripture says, Satyam vada dharmam chara achara devo bhava, matru devo bhava, pitru devo bhava. Is all said by our Vedas. So dharmam chara, follow religion and speak truth. Truth is God. Swami Vivekananda says, wherever there is truth, purity and unselfishness, wherever these three things are there, there is no power in the world to crush the possessor thereof. जिस आदमी के पास सत्य, पवित्रता और निस्वार्थता है, उस आदमी को इस दुनिया की कोई भी शक्ति दबा नहीं सकती. These are the truth, these are the values. But today, how we are becoming more and more selfish, more and more greedy, and therefore we are inviting all sorts of troubles. So here we have yogas. Our real nature is divine. Swami Vivekananda said, each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest their divinity by controlling nature, external and internal. We have to control external nature also, because our senses are running after sense enjoyments. And in this world, there are all sorts of temptations, attractions. So always they are running after that. So we have to control that. External nature and internal nature is our mind. Our mind also is restless. There is no peace in our mind because there are all sorts of desires. We want everything. So science can satisfy our needs, but not a greed. The mind has become so greedy, he wants for himself everything. He doesn't care for others. He doesn't want to help others. Everything I should get. Because of these enemies, they are all our enemies. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha, Matsara. They are all in our mind. As long as these enemies are there in our mind, we cannot dream of spirituality. If you want to become a spiritual, you want to be a moral. Without morality and ethics, we cannot become spiritual. So here Patanjali has given Ashtanga Yoga, that is called the path of meditation. Then there is path of Karma Yoga, there is path of Bhakti Yoga, there is path of Jnana Yoga. So in Bhagavad Gita there are 18 paths, 18 yogas. There said 18 yogas, 18 different ways to attain that highest divinity. That our real nature is divine, but to realize that we have to practice sadhana. And as long as we are able to control our mind, as long as we go on running after the external things, we will not be turn our mind within. The God has made our senses outward, extravert. Paranchi khani vyatrunat swayambhu. Tasmat parang pashyati na antaratman. Kashid dhira pratyagatmanam aikshad. Avrutta chakshuhu amrutatvam icchan. So here Upanishad says God has made our senses extravert, and therefore always they go out. But there are some wise people, they turn their senses within. Avrutta chakshuhu amrutatvam icchan. Those who want to attain immortality, they turn their mind within and realize the highest truth. Amrutatvam icchan. They realize the immortality. So here all these disciplines, yama, niyama, then asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, these are the wonderful steps. Ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha, shaucha, santosha, tapa, they are all values. We don't want to practice anything. Directly we want to go for meditation and samadhi. That is not possible. For spiritual sadhaka, he has to discipline himself, and that is what Swamiji has taught us. So both you have to balance. When you live in the world, we have to live in the world only. Because Sri Ramakrishna said, boat should be in water, but water should not enter in the boat. If water enters in the boat, that boat will get drowned. So we are in samsara, we are in bhavasagara. But then we should not allow samsara to enter in our mind. That means live in this world. Do all your duties. But don't get attached to anything. There is a wonderful story. Once Yajnavalkya was taking class and many students were there. Most of them were brahmacharis, sannyasis, and there was Janaka also. Janaka was a king, he was a householder and king. So he used to come and attend. One day Janaka came late. So the other sannyasi disciples, they said, sir, you start your class. He said, no, let Janaka come and I will start. They said, what is Janaka? He is a householder, he is a king, he is enjoying life. What he will understand this Upanishad? He said, let him come. Then Janaka came. Yajnavalkya was a great sage. What he did, he created a fire and the palace was burning, and nearby some huts were there built by these sannyasis. So the fire was burning. All the sannyasis ran away because their huts were nearby and their clothes and all these things were there. They started running away. Then Janaka asked, why you did not go? Janaka said, when I come to listen Vedanta, I forget the whole world. I don't bother about palace. That is nothing for me. I am not attached even to palace. And then all the sannyasis came back. Then Yajnavalkya said, you see, you ran away to protect your small hut. But here is a king. Palace was burning, but he did not bother about palace. That means though he is a king, he is a Vijayaha. He has no body consciousness. He has gone beyond body. He is not attached to even palace and any worldly things. So that was our spirituality. That means live in this world, but don't get attached to anything. Sri Ramakrishna used to say attachment is the cause of all our sufferings. And always remember that one day we have to leave this world. We have got human body. It is because of God's grace. In this body, we have to struggle how to realize our inner nature and be free from all bondages. No more birth, no more death, no more suffering, no more all these problems. So you get infinite bliss, and that is eternal peace, not temporary. By getting worldly things, you get temporary peace. But again desires will come, again we run after, and like that it goes on, and our desires are never satisfied. We think by enjoying this object, we will be satisfied, but it cannot be. In Mahabharata, in Bhagavata, there is a slok, na jatu kama kaman upavoge na shamyate. Avisha Krishna martiva abhivartate. If you pour ghee in the fire will increase. You cannot put it off. Like that, by satisfying desires, you are increasing your desires. Desires can never be satisfied. One desire is fulfilled, another will come. So have a comfortable life. I don't mean that you should live in poverty. Have a comfortable life, but see that that is not end. There is journey beyond that, and that is our spiritual journey. So we have to think of both material and spiritual progress. That is the ideal for Indians, and we should not forget the bird cannot fly only with one wing. Like that, birds should have two wings, material and spiritual. Both should be equally developed. We are developing material sciences, but we are neglecting spiritual science. That should be included in our syllabus, in our schools and colleges. So along with material sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, all, they will learn spiritual dimension also. They will practice religion also. They will practice truthfulness, honesty, sincerity, dedication, devotion, service. All the great qualities are there. but that we are neglecting. Therefore, I just quote one or two Swamiji's quotations, what he says. Here Swamiji says, the dead body resent nothing. Let us make our bodies dead and cease to identify ourselves with them. It is the horrible body idea that breeds all the selfishness in the world. Teach yourself, teach everyone his real nature. Call upon the sleeping soul and see how it awakes. Power will come, goodness will come, purity will come, and whatever is excellent will come to you when this sleeping soul is roused to self-conscious activity. So there was a yogi in Himalayas. I just remember one story. So there was a yogi in Himalayas and he was without a single pie. He was very happy, very blissful. Then the Alexander came, the great Alexander emperor. He went to that yogi and he said, "You are so happy, you don't have anything, but you are very happy. So you come with me. You come with me, I will provide you all comforts. Everything will be given. You teach me the secret, how I can be happy like you." That yogi said, I am not going to come. I am quite happy in the jungle. Then Alexander removed his sword. He said, "If you don't come, I will cut into pieces." Then that yogi laughed and he said, "My dear king, you are telling greatest lie in your life. How can you kill me? No weapon can kill me, no fire can burn me. Do you think I am just this body?" That yogi became so fearless. He said, "If you want, you can kill this body, but you can never kill me." That was his realization that made him happy without anything of this world. So when you have this spiritual realization, you will be very satisfied, peaceful and happy person. So I think my time is over. So we will conclude here. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
As Pujya Swamiji mentioned about the Kasturi deer running around to find out the source of the fragrance that is embedded in its own body, we are all running around to find the happiness which is embedded in our own selves. Thank you very much for this delivery of this lecture and outlining the contours of science and spirituality in front of this audience. Now may I request Dr. Satish Reddy, who as announced today morning is also a member of the newly constituted governing council, member of the advisory board of the governing council of Vigyan Bharati. Satish Reddy ji, namaste.
Namaskar. Sri Vijay Bhatkar ji, Sri Vishwanath Karat ji, Swami Sri Kanthananda Swami ji, Dr. Shekhar Mande, Suresh Soni ji, Shiv Kumar ji, and all other dignitaries, scientists who are present here. Namaskar to you once again. Firstly, our Honorable Minister has given a brief of how India is evolving as a science and technology nation in the world now. Gave the statistics and details of the growth of the country. Swamiji has given the perspective of spiritualism and science and how both should be growing together or work towards the mankind and humankind and all that. The same subject, being a scientist, I'll also give a little bit of my perspective and also get into the technology aspects a little bit. If you look at in the last few decades on the same subject of science and spiritualism. There have been a lot of studies which have been going on, lots of papers which have gone through. Many people have written books, and there have been number of conferences which have happened, a full conferences, international conferences, where Nobel laureates have come and participated. Science and spiritualism conferences have been having. That's primarily because they have been thought there are two paths, there are two distinct things, science, spiritualism, and particularly this country being a highly spiritual country, and which world has recognized India as a spiritual country, as a mystic country. Now when we look at the science, historically, science has been based on experimental based, data based, analytical based, logical based, empirical data based. This is how the science has been and moving further and evolving itself as that. Many times, not science, the scientists at various ages of the history, whatever is evolved, discovered on that day, with those parameters, look at the entire universe, whatever is fitting into that equation. Let's say we put it into mathematically a fourth order equation, fifth order equation, sixth order equation. If the entire universe is fitting into it, you call it scientific. If it is not fitting, then it was unscientific. There are children, youngsters, who are actually developed for intuition powers. I have myself personal experience. Many boys, many young children, blindfold, they can see everything in front of them what it is. They can read what is the paper inside and say who is who, where is what and all that, and things like that. Similarly, they can tell what type of person he is, what is his background, probably which he belongs, where he belongs also. He is a trained power. Similarly, there is a program called Kalagyan. That Kalagyan actually is trained people who can look into you in the time domain. They can look into the past, they look into the present, they can look into the future, not astrologically, or I am talking about as looking into the time domain as a Kalagyan, trained people are coming. So what I am saying is, the gap, whatever we think, is thinning down. There is nothing like science and spiritualism separate. They are connected. In fact, a person, a scientist who has got spiritual mind, who has got more meditation powers and more than that, whatever tapa powers, and look into it, which are not yet come into the picture, will be able to do very best in his scientific endeavors. In fact, there are now many courses have come. IIT Hyderabad has got a course called Heritage Sciences, teaching many of the things, whatever ancestrally what we had sciences, and these type of sciences. There are many institutes which have come into this type of things. Similarly, spiritual person, if he has got a scientific mind, analytical mind, logical mind, and then he is able to evolve himself much better as a spiritual person. So this is what it is. So they are completely interlinked, helping each other. Probably science particularly, more and more knowing about the truth, the universe, the universal energy. That is how it is evolving. So as Swamiji said, the science should be evolving more and more faster, quicker and quicker, making themselves more and more open-minded to the things, not cutting off based on the present existing equation alone. Look at the whole universe and trying to find out the real truth scientifically. This is what I feel. Second part of it, I also thought for this audience, having heard from Honorable Minister Jitendra Singh Ji, I thought having come from defense background, little bit to tell about the developments what has happened in the country in the defense scenario. All of you know, few decades back, this country was completely importing the equipment and arms, ammunition, weapons. That was the situation. We were only, even DRDO was testing, evaluating them and all that. And over years, a lot of R&D has gone in, and particularly in the last 10 years, with Atmanirbharta and Make in India, a concerted effort to develop many things in the country have made this country today stand tall in the world as one of the top countries in the world who have the defense technologies and systems produced. Today, I'll tell you, in the technologies of missiles, we are one of the first 4 or 5 countries in each type of a missile. Whatever USA has got, whatever America has got, whatever China has got, this country has got almost all of those missiles, or we are developing those missiles in this country, standing tall along with them today. Just one example, the anti-satellite test what we have done, knocking off a satellite in the low Earth orbit, that itself is an experiment, such a precise experiment, very complex experiment, made this country the 4th country after America, Russia and China, and we became that. Similarly, in the ballistic missile defense, any types of missiles. And we didn't have an aircraft. We struggled to make an aircraft, and LCA Mark I, the Tejas aircraft is made, and it has become such a fantastic aircraft today that the Indian Air Force has given 123 aircrafts order, largest order on Hindustan Aeronautics Limited for aircrafts, and 100 more it is processing now, making it 223 aircrafts. With this capability, today the government has sanctioned, and the work is progressing so fast on the heavier version of Tejas Mark I, LCA Mark II, and the most advanced 5th generation fighter aircraft called Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, and a naval aircraft which calls twin engine fighter, deck-based fighter aircraft. If once we acquire this, which I am sure within a couple of years we should be able to acquire, we become one of the 3rd country in the world or 2nd country in the world which have made this type of aircrafts. This is one thing. Friends, you know, we didn't have a gun in this country. We never made a gun. You all know that we imported Bofors gun. Now today, we made a gun, a 155 artillery gun. 2 industries, Bharat Forge and Tata, are producing that country. And that gun, last year, Independence Day at Red Fort, it was used in the ceremonial firing, and Honorable Prime Minister said that day, 75 साल के बाद आज लाल किला पे स्वतंत्रता के अवसर पर देश में बनाया का गन का आवाज आपने सुनाया है. And this gun, today, we are very proud. This gun, whatever the shell has got the range, no other gun in the world has got. This is the longest range gun in the world what India has made. Similarly, if you look at it, in Bombay there is a laboratory. For submarines to stay in water for more than few days, conventional submarine, you require a special technology called air independent propulsion that makes the submarine stay underwater for 15 days. This is only one country in the world has got, Germany. Now the 2nd country is India, has made it and it is getting into our submarine. India has become 2nd country in this. Look at the new technologies which are coming up. quantum technology, which actually in the science and spiritualism truly it comes, because that is one thing which is evolving, cosmology, quantum technology, entangled photons. A photon here and thousands of kilometers away, another photon, they are entangled, anything done here, it gets affected, sort of a thing. That technology, India is probably the second country or third country which has demonstrated the communication over 100 kilometers on a dark fiber between Vindhyachal and Prayagraj by youngsters, a startup along with DRDO and IIT Delhi. That is the quantum technologies. Today, there are at least 10 startups in the quantum technology today. We have built our own aircraft carrier where aircrafts can land and take off, completely ours, with more than 80% indigenous content, built, commissioned by Honorable Prime Minister, called INS Vikrant. So many things, so many technologies, so many systems have come. Now today, confidently one statement I will give. We are self-reliant in the areas of missiles, radars, sonars, torpedoes, AWACS systems, electronic warfare systems, aircrafts, guns, tanks, communication systems, submarines, ships. These are all, India is completely self-reliant. And now today, where it was almost 80% imported content in the armed forces once upon a time, now the indigenous content has become more than 60% in the armed forces today. And where we were a largest importing country of the arms, we started exporting now. Last year we exported, before year, 2022-23, 16,000 crores worth of defense equipment. And this year, 2023 and 24, our country has exported 21,000 crores of equipment, and lots of inquiries are coming from the world. And I am very sure in the coming couple of years or next 5 years, India will be one of the leading countries which is going to export. This is the way the technologies are emerging, and country is developing systems and all that, and India is going to be a leader by 2047 in defense technologies. That I am very confidently telling you. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Namaskar.
Dhanyavad Satish ji. We are coming to an end of this session. As Satish ji rightly mentioned, the gap between science and spirituality is thinning, modern science that is, and let us hope that it will be bridged sooner than later. Now, I request Mayank Barjatya ji to express the vote of thanks, followed by some Suchanas by Arvind Ranade ji and Shanti Mantra by Kompella Shastri ji.
माननीय स्वामी श्रीकानंद जी महाराज साहब, डॉक्टर सतीश रेड्डी जी, भाटकर सर, कराड़ सर, मांडे सर और सभी उपस्थित महानुभावों को सादर नमस्कार। आज के इस महत्वपूर्ण अवसर पर मैं सभी को अंतर्दिल से धन्यवाद व्यक्त करना चाहता हूं। इस आयोजन को सफल बनाने के लिए आप सभी की उपस्थिति और सहयोग अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण रहा है। सबसे पहले मैं स्वामी श्रीकानंद जी महाराज का हार्दिक आभार व्यक्त करना चाहता हूं। रामकृष्ण मठ पुणे से आपकी आध्यात्मिक उपस्थिति और प्रेरणादायक विचारों ने हमें नई ऊर्जा और दिशा दी है। आपके आशीर्वाद और ज्ञान से हम सभी समृद्ध हुए हैं और इसके लिए हम आपके लिए अत्यंत आभारी हैं। आदरणीय मंत्री डॉक्टर जितेंद्र सिंह जी ने अभी आपके सामने बात की। उन्होंने हमें प्रोत्साहन और मार्गदर्शन दिया और विज्ञान और प्रौद्योगिकी के क्षेत्र में नई संभावना के द्वार खोले। आपके मूल्यवान विचार और सहयोग के लिए हम दिल से आभारी हैं। डॉक्टर सतीश रेड्डी जी, DRDO के पूर्व अध्यक्ष के रूप में आपके नेतृत्व में जो उपलब्धियां हासिल की गई है वो हमारे लिए प्रेरणा का स्रोत है। आपकी उपस्थिति हमारे लिए गौरव की बात है और हम आपके योगदान के लिए हृदय से धन्यवाद करते हैं। डॉक्टर कराड़ सर, जो इस अत्यंत विशाल स्तूप के स्थापति हैं, ये पूरे MIT प्रांगण के आर्किटेक्ट हैं। मैं आपको, MIT को और यहाँ के सभी कार्यकर्ता, नॉन एकेडमिक, एकेडमिक स्टाफ का भी हार्दिक धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ। और आपको ये एक बात बताने के लिए मेरे अंदर से विचार आया है कि सेंटर स्पेस में जहाँ पे आपने एक घंटी देखी है, ये इसका एक एनर्जी स्रोत है। क्योंकि मैं जियोबायोलॉजिस्ट हूँ, मैंने यहाँ पे खड़े होकर एनर्जी को फील किया है। कभी भी आपको समय मिले, आज कल जब भी आप यहाँ हैं, तो नंगे पाँव यहाँ खड़े होकर 2 मिनट 2 सेकंड ध्यान करें और इस ध्यान केंद्र की अत्यंत जियोबायोलॉजिकल, जिसको हम कहते हैं भौगोलिक ऊर्जाओं को फील कर सकते हैं। तो ये एक बहुत ही चमत्कारी और अद्भुत क्रिएशन है। इसके लिए सर, दिस इज़ अ रियली, एक मैं बोलूँगा एक हमारे हिंदुस्तान के लिए एक आर्किटेक्चरल मार्वल है ये। और आप इसमें यहाँ पे आए हैं, हम लोगों का वी आर एक्चुअली ब्लिस्ड टू बी पार्ट ऑफ दिस होल एनवायरनमेंट। अंत में मैं सभी उपस्थित महानुभावों, आयोजकों और स्वयंसेवकों का धन्यवाद करूंगा, जिनके अथक प्रयासों से ये आयोजन सफल हो पाया है। आपके टोटल डेडिकेशन और मेहनत के बिना ये दिन और ये पूरा अधिवेशन सफल नहीं हो पाता। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।